A warm welcome to our family webinar today. We're really glad that you've taken the time out of your oh so busy schedules to join us for some learning today on how to support your students at home. And this is the second part of our family webinar series that we're doing at My Blueprint. And this session is titled Turning Self-Discovery into Clear Post-Secondary Decisions. In webinar one, we focus on helping teens understand themselves so future decisions feel less overwhelming. And today we're going to look at how we can support you in supporting your students turn that self-understanding into clear post-secondary decisions. I'll go over some quick housekeeping items before we get started. Our first piece here is that our session is going to be recorded, and we will share the link with you after the session, as well as any families who weren't able to make it tonight. So if you wanted to rewatch a specific part of our session or share it with some of your families in your community that you think would benefit from this as well, you can feel free to share that recording with them too. If you have any questions, please share them today throughout the Q&A feature. Tasneem and I are going to have a dedicated time at the end of our session to answer all of your questions, so feel free to put those in the Q&A at any time. And resources. We have some amazing resources that we're going to be sharing with you throughout our session today. And all of those are going to be sent to you via email, via a follow-up email. So no need to write down links any quickly at the as we show you things today. Everything's going to be coming to you in a follow-up email. All right, going into our agenda for our time together. So we will start with some introductions to myself and Tasneem. And then Tasneem will take over with her college clarity method, which is going to be a really quick and easy three-step process that's going to help move your teens from feeling pressured to feeling clear. And then we're going to jump into some My Blueprint connections. So I'll then take over and show you how those insights in that three-part framework can be translated into the My Blueprint platform with a live student demo. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A. So this will be the time where we'll answer all of your questions, and we'll also give you some login support. If you're unsure how your students log into My Blueprint, we'll give you some support there as well. All right, getting into some introductions. So my name is Victoria Berkovitz, and I am an education services specialist here at My Blueprint. My background is rooted deeply in education. I've spent over 4 years in the classroom as a teacher in Ontario, working in the Toronto District School Board, and I've always had a passion for making sure that students can access success and feel successful in their lives. So I'm really excited to be here with you today and give you some really useful tools to support your students with their future planning. And I will pass it on over to Tasneem now.
Great. Thank you, Victoria. Victoria, did you want to put up that poll right now so we can see who's
Yes,
in the room just to get a sense of
thank you for the
where you-
reminder.
yeah.
Yes,
And
awesome.
I guess maybe while that poll goes up, if all of you can fill that in, it would give us really good insight into where you are right now with your teen, what grade your teen is in. That would be really, really great. Um, so I'll get started. My name is Tasneem Damji, and before I tell you anything else, I want you to know this. I am a mom of a grade 12 teen, and so I sit on your side of this. I know what it feels to watch a smart, capable teen stare at a list of universities and freeze. My professional life sits exactly there too. I'm a college and career clarity coach. I'm a licensed practitioner of the Strong Interest Inventory. I've spent more than 10 years working with teens and their families around the world. I've also sat on the other side of the desk as well, as a reader of applications at the University of British Columbia and on multiple scholarship committees. So I've seen this process from every angle, the parents' chair, the students' chair, the admissions chair, the scholarship chair. And what I've learned is this. The families who come through this process well are not the ones with the perfect pedigree. They're the ones whose teen knows who they are. And that's the work I help families with. And that's what we're going to go through today. So we'll go to the next slide. So if you were with us in the first webinar, hi again. If you weren't, here's the headline in 30 seconds. In webinar one, we walked through the first half of my college clarity method. And there are three steps. The first one is C, and this is where you notice your teen's strengths, interests, and what energizes them. The second one is reflect, where you build self-awareness around their values, choices, and priorities. And the third one is design, where you start exploring possibilities and creating direction. And so that webinar was about understanding your teen. Today is about what comes next, taking that self-understanding and turning it into real, clear decision about where they go after high school. We'll go to the next slide. So self-awareness on its own doesn't get a teen into college or university. And I use those terms interchangeably throughout this webinar. The key is we have to translate it. So I'm going to walk you through the second half of the College Clarity Method with three more steps. And the first one is match. And this is where we connect what we now know about your teen into real options. The second step is narrow, where we sort through programs and schools intentionally and strategically. And then the third one is stand out. We turn all of that into strong applications and essays. So it's match, narrow, stand out, and that's the arc. But here's what I want you to notice. Most of us were taught a different arc. We were taught pick a list of impressive schools, apply to as many as possible, and hope. And that's the opposite of what works now. What works now starts with your teen, not with the school. And I've turned this whole framework into a free guide that I'll show you later on before I hand it off to Victoria. So just stay with me. So we'll go through the different steps. And I want to name I'll go to the next slide. I want to name something a lot of parents are quietly carrying. There's a belief out there that the work of choosing a university starts in grade 12. That's actually when the deadlines hit. That's when the counselor calls. That's when everyone gets serious. But by the time we get to grade 12, three things are true at once. Timelines are tight, pressure is high, and confusion is at an all-time peak. That is the worst possible moment to ask a 17-year-old to make decisions that cost tens of thousands of dollars and shapes the next 10 years of their life. So here's the part nobody tells you. The teens who make the best decisions in grade 12 are not the smartest ones. They're not the ones with the highest grades or the most expensive tutors. They are the ones who started thinking about who they are in grade 10 and 11, quietly, without pressure, in everyday conversations. And I want to be careful here. This is not about pushing your teen earlier. It's not about more homework, more tutoring, more pressure. The opposite, actually. It's about giving them space to figure out before the pressure shows up. So that when grade 12 arrives, they aren't choosing in a panic. They're choosing from a place of clarity. The goal is not to pressure teens earlier, it's to support them before the pressure takes over. We'll go to the next slide. So here's the simple three-step framework that I'm going to walk you through. Match, narrow, and stand out. Three steps that turn what you already know about your teen into clear, confident post-secondary choices. Okay, so let me walk you through each one of them. We'll do the first one. Step one is match. We connect your teen's strengths, interests, and self-awareness into real options. Most parents skip this step entirely. They go straight to school lists, the University of Toronto, McGill, UBC, and then they might have some backup options. But starting with the school list is like shopping for a house before you know how many bedrooms you need. You'll fall in love with something pretty and then realize it doesn't actually fit your family. Match is the bedroom count question. It sounds like you light up when you organize people. Where could that take you? Or you've always loved how things work. What field actually pays for that curiosity? Or you've been the one your friends can come to for advice. What roles in the world need that? This is where self-discovery becomes specific. We move from my teen is creative to my teen would love a program that combines design thinking with business strategy. And as a parent, this is something you can actually do. You don't need to know every program in Canada or abroad. You just need to keep drawing the line between who they are and what's out there. We'll go to the next one. So step 2 is narrow. This is where most families get stuck. There are over 100 public universities in Canada alone. And if you open up the US, the UK, Europe, and elsewhere, the list becomes endless. Most teens cope by doing one of two things. They either pick 5 schools they've heard of, or they apply to 20 schools and hope for the best. Neither of those is a strategy. Both of them lead to the same place, a panicked grade 12. Narrowing is a skill, and it has very little to do with rankings. It has to do with 4 things, which I call the 4 fit categories. Your teen needs to know program fit. Does this program actually teach what they want to learn? Learning fit. Does the way the school teaches match how this teen learns? Environment fit. That's campus, city, size, climate, distance from home. And values fit. What does the school stand for? And does that align with who your teen is becoming? When a teen can answer those 4 questions about themselves first, the long list narrows itself. The schools that don't fit fall away. The schools that do fit start to glow. And so if you're scribbling all of this down, don't worry. There will be in a free guide that I'll send to you very soon in the next few slides. So let's go to step 3, which is um, one that parents ask me about the most, and that is to stand out. This is the application piece, essays, activities, supplementals, videos. And I want to bust the biggest myth in this entire space. Standing out is not about being more impressive. It's about being more clear. Admissions readers, and I have been one of them, are not looking for the most dazzling resume. We are looking for a thread, a through line, a story that tells us that this human knows who they are and why they're knocking on our door. Most teens don't have an essay problem. They have a clarity problem. The essay is just where the lack of clarity becomes visible. And this is where I want to gently address something many of you are wondering about, AI. AI can write a clean paragraph. AI can polish grammar. AI can suggest structure. I use it. Your teen uses it. That is not going away. But AI cannot tell your teen who they are. AI cannot draw the thread between an obsession with chess at age 8 and a future in operations research. AI cannot sit with your kid through the 10 minutes of silence that come before the real answer shows up. That work is human work, and that is what coaching is for. Standing out, done well, looks like this. Your teen's interests and values woven into a clear, focused story. And applications, essays, and activities that quietly back up that story. Okay, so we'll go into an example which will really shed light into all these three steps. And I want to make this really concrete with a student of mine, Naomi. And she was in grade 11 when we started working together. Naomi told me very confidently that she wanted to go to UBC Sauder School of Business. She had decent grades, she had the right extracurriculars. On paper, it tracked. But when I asked her why, she couldn't answer. She said things like, "It's a good school," and "my parents would be happy," and "I think I should." None of that is an answer. So we did the work. We ran the strong interest inventory. We did the see, reflect, design process I talked about in the first webinar. And something interesting happened. Fashion marketing kept showing up. Not solder, not finance, not commerce, fashion marketing. And the moment I named it back to her, she said, and I'll never forget this, "Oh my gosh, I am the one all my friends ask for outfit advice. I've been doing this since I was 12." And that's the match phase or the match piece. Then we did narrow. Naomi wanted to stay close to home. She wanted to keep costs down and manageable. She wanted real world experience, not just lectures. She wanted international exposure. When we mapped that against actual programs, UBC Sauder was not the right answer. Kwantlen Polytechnic University's fashion marketing program was closer to home, more affordable, industry placements built in, international exchange opportunities, designed for exactly the career she now realized she wanted. And this is myth busting. A more prestigious school is not always the better school. Then we did stand out. Naomi started volunteering with Vancouver Fashion Week, real industry exposure. And for the KPU video application, instead of doing a generic "I love fashion" pitch, we used a scene from The Devil Wears Prada to show visually, specifically, memorably, why fashion marketing was right for her. She got in, she's thriving, and this is the part that matters. She's not second guessing the choice because the choice came from her. And if you're sitting here thinking, "I want my teen to be able to do what Naomi did," or if you want to start having these conversations with your teen this week, here's the good news. You don't have to figure it out from scratch. The next slide is where I will give you the tool. So let's go to the next slide. Everything I just walked you through, match, narrow, stand out. I've put it into a free guide called the College Clarity Fit Check. And it's the same framework I use with my clients, the same framework that we've just talked about. It walks you through the 4 fit categories when choosing the right schools: program, learning, environment, values. And it gives you a learn, fit, story checklist that your teen can actually fill in. It's the conversation starter most families never get. And so there are 2 ways to grab it. If you have your phone ready, you can scan the QR code on the slide and it will come straight to your inbox. Or you can email me directly at hello@tasneemdamji.com. And if you miss it now, don't worry, it will be in the follow-up email after the webinar, along with everything we've covered today. And if after reading it, you find yourself thinking, I want help applying this to my own teen. That's exactly what I do. So my email is on the screen and the follow-up, in the follow-up, if you want to reach out, I read every message and I'd love to connect with you. So let's get to the next slide. And I want to leave you with one thought before I hand over the mic over to Victoria. Most of us think our job as parents is to help our teen pick the best school. It is not. Our job is to help our teen recognize the best fit path. And I'll tell you something I've learned from reading applications for UBC and from coaching hundreds of teenagers. Best fit always outperforms most prestigious. Always. A teen who lands in a program that fits will outwork, outgrow, and outthrive a teen who lands in a name brand program that doesn't. This work, the work we just walked through together, is not really about university. It's about helping a young person stand grounded in who they are before the world starts telling them who to be. This is a gift you can give your teen right now, in grade 10, in grade 11, long before grade 12. And if you want to start putting this into practice, definitely scan this QR and download the free guide or email me, and I can send it to you. Okay, we'll go to the last slide on my part. So we've talked about the conversation side, the reflection side, the clarity side. Now the question becomes, how do we put this into a practical tool your family can actually use? Where do you keep track of it all? The interests, the programs, the schools, the next steps. And that's where my blueprint comes in. It's the platform that holds the work. It's where your teen can document what they're discovering, explore programs and pathways, and build a real living plan. So before Victoria takes you through my blueprint, grab this guide so that you have it. And it's the tool that's going to make everything that Victoria is about to show you even more useful. So grab it, and so you can go over it later. And I'll hand it over to you now, Victoria.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. So now we're going to jump in to see how my blueprint can support that wonderful framework that Tasneem just shared. So before I get into our student account and show you some of the features that you can use with your students to support that great work, I'll give you a little bit of an introduction to my blueprint. So at my blueprint, our main goal and our mission is to empower every student to thrive and succeed. And we believe that success looks different for everyone, which is why we provide them with the resources to navigate not just their current education, but their future careers and their lives as a whole. We want to ensure that when your teen makes a choice about their future, they're doing so with confidence that really comes from deep self-understanding. So there are four key ways my blueprint brings our mission to life for your family. And our first one is all about making connections. So you'll see today how we can help your students bridge the gap and make meaningful connections between what they're learning, their personal interests, and their future possibilities. We also support them with exploring pathways. So we know it's easy for teens to get stuck thinking about the same top 10 traditional jobs, and our platform really encourages students to explore diverse pathways they may have never even considered and ones that are also connected to their interests as well. We also support students with documenting their growth. So we know oftentimes it's not just about that final grade, and we want students to be able to document experiences that really highlight their skills and their personal growth along the way. We also have amazing personalized resources. So we provide students, teachers, and families with resources to support them with this entire journey. And you'll see a few of those towards the end of our session today as well. So I am going to jump right into our student account right now. And what I will note today, what I'm going to show you in your student's My Blueprint account, the way I recommend you support your students with this is have your student log in to their My Blueprint accounts at home with you. And then work through all of these tools that I'm going to share with them side by side. So they'll be in their student accounts and you can sit with them one-on-one and work through these features and these tools together. That's really the best way that we recommend you to use this tool with your students. So I will hop over into my Blueprint account over here. So when your students log in, this is what they're going to see. This is the dashboard of their student account. And today I'm in a sample grade 10 student's account. So you'll notice on the left-hand side over here, we have all of the different tools that are available to students. And on our last session, we really focused on our Who Am I surveys. So really having students learn about themselves and take those 5 core surveys to learn about their interests and their knowledge and their motivations. Today, our focus is going to be in the high school section. So I'm going to click into high school over here, and this is going to bring me into my student's high school plan. So this is an area that your students are going to become very familiar with if they haven't already. And what this high school plan is this is where your students can map out their courses all the way through from grade 9 or grade 10, starting of high school, depending on what grade your students start high school in your province, all the way through till graduation in grade 12. So the high school plan here shows a series of columns. So we see grade 9, so shows as completed. That was my previous year. We have grade 10, which is my current year. And then you'll notice I have my 2 following years. My next year is grade 11, and my plan ahead year is for grade 12. So depending on the school and the district that your students are in, some students may use this high school plan for their course selection, and some students may not. But the good news is that the amazing features of this high school planner can be used regardless if your students use course selection or they do not use course selection. So now, how do students use this high school plan here? So they can use this high school plan to visually map out their entire high school journey. So we can see here that my grade 10 student has been able to put in their courses for grade 9, their previous year. They've been able to add in their courses for grade 10 that they're currently taking. And you'll notice that they are also able to add in courses they're thinking about taking next year and they're thinking about exploring for grade 12. So this really allows them to map things out. And that's really important. As Tasneem mentioned in that match phase, we really want to use self-discovery in our conversations with students. So when students are going in here and they're thinking about their courses for grade 11 and 12, you could have them maybe think back to those Who Am I surveys, specifically that knowledge survey that matches students with what they like to learn about. And thinking about, oh, remember your knowledge survey said that you might be interested in business. Let's explore what business courses are offered at your high school, and maybe let's add them into our grade 11 and grade 12 year. So this is a really great opportunity. I know oftentimes it's easy for students to just think about their next year, but when they start thinking about the following years as well, it really brings in a lot of opportunity for them to explore the courses that are offered at their high school and how those connect to their interests. It can also be really empowering for students to see ahead in grade 12 and 11 when those courses become a little bit more specific for electives, that there's courses out there that are connected to their interests. So really encourage you to have your students go in there and they can map out their courses all the way through till grade 12. And this can also give them a really great sense of confidence because what our plan here does as well is students are able to access this graduation indicator in the top right corner over here. So if I were to select View Progress, this is my Ontario demo account. So I see all of the graduation requirements for Ontario on the left-hand side. And here I can see the courses my student has planned, if they've earned any of those courses yet, and how many are required, and how many out of the required that they've earned. So this can be really helpful for you to have these conversations at home as well, connecting students' courses to their interests. So look, this course is exactly what you're interested in, and it's helping you get exactly what you need to graduate. So this can be really helpful and reassuring for you to see that your student is planning ahead and they know exactly what they need to graduate, but also empowering for your students as well to feel like they have a really great visual plan for success. And like I said, this is my graduation progress there is showing for Ontario because I'm in an Ontario account. But if you're in Alberta, when you open that up, that will be the Alberta specific information. Same thing for all of the other provinces. All of the information is going to be province specific for you and your students. I'm going to scroll down over here to our pathway eligibility box. So this is really powerful tool. So this is really helpful because it really connects to Tasneem's match step. So what this does is it takes all of the courses that my student has entered in their high school plan and it syncs them with all of the post-secondary opportunities across Canada. So this connects all of those courses that they've taken that they're interested in. So if they're mapping out grade 11, maybe they're interested in media courses, they're putting those in there. They're interested in business courses, they're putting those in there. Then it takes everything that they've planned and it says these are the pathways that you're eligible for. So this can be really exciting for students who are thinking about the courses that they're interested in, but maybe they're not sure how those connect to post-secondary opportunities. And this can kind of give them a much better snapshot of what that would look like. So you'll notice here that I have the opportunity to refresh eligibility here. So if your students go in and say they only populate their courses for grade 9 and 10, and they refresh eligibility, these numbers on the side connecting to the different pathway opportunities here are likely going to be 0. So your students will need to plan all the way through till grade 12 to get those possibilities coming up over here because they have to meet those entrance requirements. So they have to be planning all the way through till grade 12. So you'll see here we have apprenticeship pathways, college, community living, university, and workplace. And this can be really empowering for students as well when they're looking at their high school plan and they're connecting the courses, their future courses to their interests. It can be empowering for them to see, wow, if I take these courses, I'm eligible for over 4,000 college opportunities. That's really exciting. And it can be really kickstart students' exploration and get them excited about starting to look at what possibilities are out there. So I'm going to select our university pathway over here. I'm going to select 3,000 over there. So when I click on that number, it is going to now bring me into our post-secondary tab. And this is going to show me all of the 3,000 post-secondary opportunities across Canada that my student is eligible for. And while 3,000 is a fantastic number, it can also be a very overwhelming number for students to sort through. This is giving them all of the post-secondary, university post-secondary opportunities across Canada. So now we're getting into that stage of narrowing that Tasneem showed us. And this is where we can really narrow down those programs of interest and help students sort through that large number of 3,000. So we have some filters up here that can really support students. So the first filter I'm going to use is I'm going to click into the categories. And this is where we can make those connections back to that match area of my student's interests. So my student has really enjoyed taking media courses and wants to learn more about what journalism and communication opportunities are out there for them. So they're going to select that. And now right away, they're getting a much better list of 93 programs. So 93 is an amazing number. It can be very exciting for students to see, but we're going to narrow that down even more. I'm going to use my province filter over here, and I'm going to filter by Ontario. And I'm now going to see I have 59 different programs. I want to note as well here that you would be able to filter by city if that's a conversation what you want to have with your students as well. If you want your students to be staying in a certain city or town, that would be a great filter to utilize. You can also filter by specific institutions. The pathway, we're already filtered by university. There's the different requirements and languages as well that you can filter by. So we know that we're looking at university programs here that are connected to my students' high school plan. So we know that they already meet the entrance requirements for all of these university programs. It's connected to my students' interest of journalism and communications, and they're all in Ontario. So I'm going to scroll down over here to show you a variety of these different programs. So students can click into these programs and they can get a lot of great information that connects to Tasneem's framework of narrowing things down. So here we'll get an initial idea of what the program is about. And Tasneem was mentioning that it's really important to understand what students are going to be learning in these programs. Oftentimes, these university and college and even apprenticeship programs have a very similar name, but maybe they're touching on different things within different institutions. So this is a really great area for students to read and learn more about what this program offers. If I scroll down here, we'll get a great snapshot of how long the program is, a 4-year program. And my admission eligibility, we already know that I'm eligible because we searched through my high school plan. So we have that nice green check mark there. And we'll get a snapshot of that tuition per year as well. If I scroll down here, I'll get some other great information. So we'll see the credential that I would be getting if I were to pursue this program. We'll see the program length once again. We'll see if there's an opportunity for co-op, so experiential learning. We see here that this program does not have co-op. This program also does not have a part-time study option. Here, we also get a breakdown of all of the different expenses, so beyond tuition, including residence costs and meal plan costs. And this is really great. These can be a really great conversation to have and really be helpful for your family and future planning as well. And I will go back up to the top over here. And when I click into requirements, I'm going to get a breakdown of what those requirements are via my high school plan. So we already know that I'm eligible, so I can see all of these requirements that I'm already meeting through my high school plan, and I have the nice check marks there as well. And I can see if I'm an international student, I have some information there. If there is any additional information needed to get into a program, like a digital portfolio or anything like that, that would show up in our requirements tab. If I want to learn a little bit more about the University of Toronto Scarborough campus, I can select institution. And here I can get a lot of information about the history of the school. I can easily click in here to the website. Sorry, everyone, got a tickle in my throat. And going down over here as well, I can get a list of how many programs are offered, how long the school has been established for, as well as how many students are at the school. So maybe your student is preferring to go to a larger campus with large students, and you can talk about maybe what that experience would be like, or maybe they're looking for a smaller school with a smaller population. Get some information about the residents here as well as if there's any sports offered at the school, those will be listed there as well as the social media for any of those pages if they're available for those institutions. So lots of great information here. But I will note here as well that it can be a lot for students to be clicking in and out of different programs, especially if programs have similar names, or you're thinking, what's the difference between, for example, Arts and Media Management and a Bachelor of Digital Communications? So here we have a comparison tool that really supports that narrowing down piece of the framework that Tasneem shared. So on these programs, your students can click the three dots. They can select compare, and I'm going to do it with this Humber program that I also want to compare, and I'm going to select the blue compare button. And this will bring up the program side by side. So this is really going to help me understand, okay, what's the difference? What am I going to be learning at U of T? And what will I be learning at Humber? What's going to be different there? If I scroll down here, I'll also see that they're both 4 years. And I can see there's quite a difference in tuition there per year as well. And here is where I'm going to see some really helpful information. So I'll notice at U of T, I'd be getting a Bachelor of Arts, and at Humber, I'd be getting a Bachelor of Digital Communications. And what I really love to note here is our co-op option over there. I would be having no opportunity for co-op at U of T, but I would have the opportunity for co-op at Humber. So if hands-on learning is really important for your students, that's definitely something you would want to compare within those programs. There you'll get a breakdown of the expenses as well. We can scroll up and go back to our requirements, and I can view those specific requirements side by side. I can see the minimum averages are different for admission as well. And I can go down here as well and see if there's any other notes. So I can see here that Humber has a note there about a minimum grade for the grade 12 English requirements. And there's no other special notes there. But if there were notes about a digital portfolio, those would be in there as well. So my student can favorite these programs if they're interested in them, and they can also add them to a portfolio, which we'll take a look at in just a minute. So if I select this pin button over here, I'm going to add this. I'm actually interested in broadcast journalism, so I'm going to add that to my broadcast journalism portfolio, and I'm also going to add it to my career portfolio. So our student has been able to go from their high school plan, match themselves with a variety of different programs, and narrow things down there as well. I will highlight one more piece here as well. If you're working with your teen at home and maybe they're really passionate about a specific career and they have something in mind, we can actually work backwards from that career as well. So if I hop into work and then occupations, I can actually search for an occupation and then work backwards. So if my student was very interested in becoming a marine biologist, for example, I could search this over here, biologist, testing my spelling there. And I can see here, I'm going to click on that occupation for marine biologist. And from here, I can learn a lot about the occupation. I can learn about the education level needed, and I can see the outlook per province as well, which is really great. I can go down and get some information about all what it's really like to work in that job, as well as the important skills listed there. So maybe I can make some good connections to the skills that I already have. But what I'll highlight here for pathway planning is students can select requirements. We know it's a university pathway required. But I can actually search, I can click on view programs. And now I'm going to be brought to a page here where I'm going to see a variety of different post-secondary pathways that are connected to that career that I was interested in. So now I can see there's a program at the University of Guelph in animal biology. If I click on that, I'm going to get that same great information we got when we were looking at those digital media communications um, pathways there. But now when I clicked into requirements, I'm not sure if I'm eligible now for this because I wasn't searching for it through my high school plan. So I can scroll down here and see that I have almost everything that I need, but right here I'm missing something. I need two of these following courses. I need grade 12 biology, grade 12 chemistry, or grade 12 physics. So I need two of those courses. So I could go back into my high school plan and maybe make those adjustments if this is something that I'm really looking to do. So your student can start with the end in mind by looking for an occupation, or they can start by matching and exploring those interests through their courses and through that pathway eligibility tool. I'm going to wrap up our demo now through our standout piece, which that Tasneem shared, and I'm going to highlight this through our portfolios. So I'm going to select home on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to select portfolios. So our portfolios in my blueprint are a really great place for students to document that standout piece. So all of our portfolios in my blueprint, they're student driven. So students can create as many portfolios as they want at any time. You'll notice here in my student account, I have a middle school portfolio and I also have a career portfolio. And that's because students, when they create portfolios in those middle school years in grade 7 and 8, they actually carry over year to year to year. So whatever portfolios my students create in grade 7 and 8 or even grade 9 and 10, they'll have all the way through till grade 12. So this is a really great piece for students to look back and reflect on the skills they've developed, certain things that they've achieved, and look back on that. And maybe those are things that they want to highlight when they're writing that application essay. They can look back in their old portfolios and maybe they want to use that information to stand out. So overall, our portfolios are a really great way for students to capture their growth and capture their evidence of achievements, for them to showcase their skills and also boost their confidence. So I'm going to click into one portfolio and show you what these can look like. So my student is really interested in media, journalism, communications. So they actually did a placement as a working with in broadcast journalism. So here I'll show you some of the pieces that they've highlighted. So they've been able to add that Humber program that we took a look at over there. They've been able to add their resume that they've created in my blueprint, some related occupations, and they've also been able to add some of their skills. So my student worked on learning how to use Adobe Premiere Pro, and they were able to add proof and a reflection of that in there. So really great place for students to start to document all of the amazing things that they're doing, and then they can use this information in these portfolios and share it as part of their application, or even use this as a collection if they're wondering, okay, what did I do? What can I highlight that I've done in the past? They can use this portfolio to support them in writing those essays. So I can see here my student has highlighted a project that they've done and they've added an audio recording of it. And they've also been able to add a written reflection of a day in the life of co-op there. So lots of opportunities for what students can document in their portfolios here. I will highlight as well how easy it is for students to share these. So if I select share, and I'm going to say, for example, if I'm going to say this is my Humber application portfolio, I'm going to use this for my application. I'm going to select generate link. And I'll have a link at the bottom over here. So I'll click copy link and I'm going to show you quickly what this looks like in a new tab. So this is great because this is a live link. So anything that my students are putting in here, it's going to constantly update for them. So they don't need to create a new link every time they share this. As they add to the portfolio continues to update and they'll never have to recreate this link. So if I select View Portfolio, the person who receives this, whether it's someone reviewing an application or they're using this for a volunteer opportunity or they're sharing it with you as a parent as well, well, you can view it view only and scroll down and see all the amazing pieces of work that they have added into their portfolio there. And I'll hop back over here as well. And I will highlight that students can create these portfolios very easily. All they have to do is select Add Portfolio, give their portfolio a name. So even if I wanted to create one specifically for my Humber application, I can select Add Portfolio, Add Box, and I can begin adding using any types of media into my portfolio. Or I could go in and add from my blueprint and add anything that I've done in my blueprint, favorited or goals or resumes I've done. I can add those directly into my portfolio there. All right, I am going to hop back over into our slides now. So just as a reminder, in our student account today, we started with our high school plan. We looked at those different pathways. We looked at how students could explore from a career and work backwards. And then we also were taking a look at how students can use that portfolio as the standout piece there. So I will hop back over to our slides now, and I'll briefly share with you some of the resources that you will receive at the end of our session today. So you will be receiving a My Blueprint Family Guide, which is really great. It's going to walk you through feature by feature all of the different pieces of my blueprint. You'll receive, if you haven't already scanned the QR code, you'll receive Tasneem's College Clarity Fit Check Guide. You'll also receive a three video series of some family tips and strategies for using my blueprint, as well as a getting started guide for students. So lots of great resources that are going to be coming your way via email. And I will quickly go over some student login information as well if you're wondering how your students can log into my blueprint. So the easiest way is for you to go to myblueprint.ca, select login, and then students would select school account login. From here, they can choose their school board or school district and log in with their email and password. If they don't see their school district here, that means that your school district may license my blueprint in a different way, and it would be best to follow up with your student's school directly to ask them for that activation code. So if you don't see your school district over here on school account login, you can just follow up with your school. Awesome. All right. So we do have our feedback form here as well. We are going to start our Q&A now. So feel free to put any questions that you have in our Q&A feature, and Tasneem and I will spend the next 12 minutes or so going through all of your questions. But we would love to receive your feedback and hear how what you learned today from our webinar. And we always want to improve things for you and making sure we're giving you the best learning opportunities as possible. So feel free to scan this as we start to go through our questions. But Tasneem and I do have our Q&A feature up, so feel free to start putting those questions in there.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for questions, I wanted to share a couple of things that I was thinking about when I talked about Naomi. I also recalled a couple of other students who came to me um, wanting to pursue or saying they wanted to pursue a particular path. And as we went through the process, they ended up not applying to that path because they realized there were other paths that they were more interested in. And what I noticed was the common thread in all of this was that the parents were supportive of this, and that made all the difference in the world. When the parents are supportive, even though it wasn't what they came in to this process thinking that that's what their teen wanted to do, but when the parents were supportive, I could tell this kind of relief on their teen that it was kind of like a permission that they were now allowed to pursue what they were interested in. So I wanted to share that because it came up with Naomi, it came up with some other students that I've had. And parents are such a big part of this whole process. And so I wanted to share that with you. And perfect because we've now got questions.
Yes, perfect. Awesome. I see the first question here. My daughter wants to take a gap year. How long can we access my blueprint? Fantastic question, and a very common question we get at my blueprint. So, your daughter can access my blueprint post graduation. All she'll have to do is select the top, her icon in the top corner of her account, select account settings, and then she can change her email from her school district email to her personal email. And this will allow her to have access post graduation. And then she would just have to log in at least once a year to continue to have access to that. But fantastic question. Sarah, thank you. Really great content. Can I see any of this from the parent account of my blueprint? Yes, absolutely. You can see all of this from your student account, from your family account in my blueprint. If you've attached your student on there, you'll be able to see everything that your student has been able to add to their portfolio. So anything, any exploration that they're doing in there, you can do that as well. And if you select the eyeball icon as well in the top corner of your family account, that will give you a read-only view of your child's account as well. And I can, in our follow-up email as well, I will attach the family and parent account overview help article and maybe a video as well that will give some more information and a lot more details about how you can view your students' work in their family account. Awesome. Okay, next one I see is also my blueprint question. My son's school uses my blueprint, but my daughter's school board does not. I find it a much better tool. Is there any way to get an individual license? That's a really great question. That we don't actually offer individual licenses, but what your daughter's school board does not. So what your daughter could do is use your son's account to do some exploration in there as well. What I'll note kind of as a workaround for that in your son's account is when we were in the high school plan, you can select, and maybe I will just show this quickly. This may be helpful for other folks as well. But if I go into high school plan, and I select view plans, I can select add new plan. So maybe you want to use this for your other daughter, or your daughter to create her high school plan. So if I put this as I'll just call it now my plan B, and anyone can do this as well. It's actually a great way to make more than one high school plan to explore different options of courses and see how those affects different pathways. So you can create a new plan. And now it's blank for me to go in and add in there. So that could be a way that your daughter could go ahead and use the account and share it with your son, perhaps in a different way there. I hope that helps. All right. Next question, is there an adult version of my blueprint for adults exploring an alternative career? That's a really great question. Or another career within their field. That's a really great question. I'm not aware of us licensing or having an adult version of this, but that would be an excellent version to have. When I was transitioning from teaching into working for my blueprint, I would have also loved to have something like this to help me explore my career. Unfortunately, this is just a student tool for now. But that's a really great question. I'm not sure, Tazim, if you know of any platforms that would be supporting for adults.
I don't, but I just wonder if an adult can maybe try it with their student's account, like
Yes, you could do that as well.
there's
Yeah,
one like you just did with the student and see where that takes you because I love the question because it's so true. Like, adults are also exploring. Adults are also trying to figure out what they're interested in and see what's out there. So I love it. I think you should try it with your student account. Um,
yeah,
yeah. The next two questions are
yeah.
specifically about like applications and courses. And so one is, are grade 11 grades considered in post-secondary applications? Yes, they are. So when students apply to universities or college in their grade 12 year, they're usually applying before any of their grade 12 grades are out. So they are applying with their grade 11 grades. Once their grade 12 grades come out, the transcripts will be updated, and it depends on the school, but you can find out from the counselor. But oftentimes, the transcripts will be updated and automatically sent to the schools. When schools accept students at any time during the year before graduation, it is always considered a conditional acceptance. And what that means is they've accepted your students based on the grades that they've seen and the other parts of the application. They need to wait for your teen to graduate. And also they might have specific requirements. So some often schools will say, we need to make sure that in grade 12 English, they've reached, they've got a 73 and above or something like that, or math. English often is the one, and then maybe math. Um, so, um, so that's, yeah. So grade 11 grades are considered in the applications more heavily at the beginning when they first apply. And then the next question is, shouldn't the teen have the foundation for post-secondary studies before grade 12? Shouldn't they have to choose subjects necessary for post-secondary studies at the beginning of grade 10? So I do love this question because it is starting to look at how courses connect with courses in high school, how they connect with post-secondary studies. And so if your teen already has an idea of what they might want to pursue after high school, then yes, start looking at what courses, and my blueprint, the way Victoria just showed us, can show you how to do that, can show you which courses, if you put them in, what would they lead to? And I'm sure you could maybe do it backwards as well, right? Where you could look at the program and see what courses are required. And then you can go backwards and say, okay, these are the courses offered at my school or online, and this is what we can, make sure that my teen takes so that they are ready for that. Now, not everyone is going to be ready at that stage. Grade 10, for most families, is not the stage where students are necessarily thinking about what they're going to do after high school. So, it can happen anytime. I always say to students and families, there are so many ways to get to the same destination. There's not just one way. And so, what I would suggest for the students who might not know what they want to do after high school is just take courses that sound interesting. Just take courses that sound interesting to you. I think we've all had experiences where we've done something, we didn't know where it was going to lead to, and sometimes it's turned out to be the thing that we really enjoyed the most. And so, if your teen knows what they're thinking about doing after high school, they can definitely pick the courses to make sure they meet those eligibility requirements. If they don't, take courses that they are interested in. And if they still don't, even when they're in grade 11 and 12, there are still ways to do this. I don't feel like there needs to be a certain timeline for everyone. Like, that's why I love the gap year question. My son is also taking a gap year after high school. So there are ways to, if you didn't take the courses because you didn't know at that time that that's what you needed, because you didn't know what you wanted to do, you can still take courses once you graduate. And so there are many ways to get to the same destination. So hope I answered your question, Scarlett, and other questions that people might be thinking about with that.
Awesome. Thanks,
Mhm.
Tasneem. I see the next one is about missing part of the presentation. Will we send the recording? Yes, we will send the recording as well as the slideshow and all of the links. So no worries at all. If you weren't able to get the beginning, you'll have it all in your email.
And
All
I'll
right.
answer
The next one?
Yeah, Suchi's
Yeah.
question. Do schools consider grade 9 and 10 grades as well? Um, They will see the grades on the transcripts, but they are really looking at grade 11 and 12. courses. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because in grade 10, 9 and 10 is when they're really exploring and they're most of grade 9 and 10 courses also are the required courses, right? Grades 11, 12 is when they get to start taking courses based on their interests. So grade 11 and 12 are the courses that they're really looking for.
Awesome. Our next one. How often are the grade requirements updated for each institution in my blueprint? That's a fantastic question and something we get all the time as well. We have a dedicated team who updates all of that information constantly. So you should be able to trust that all of the information in there is as accurate as possible. So that includes the courses that are required as well as the grades that are required. And the next question, are the registration fees included in the price estimate for each of the tuitions? That is a fantastic question, and I'm actually not 100% sure on that one, if the registration fees are included in the price estimate, but I will note that down as a question, and I can put that information in the follow-up. I will connect with our team, because that's a very valid question, so I'm just going to copy and paste this into my notes over here. And so please keep an eye on the follow-up email, and I will put that information in there confirming if the registration fees are included in that price estimate. But that's a really great question. Our next one is, can you send the information by mail? I didn't receive the information sent by email. Yes, definitely. So we will be sending all of the follow-up information to the email that you registered for this webinar with. So those are the emails that we have access to. So whatever email you registered for and received the Zoom link at is the email that we will be sending the follow-up email to. But yes, definitely everything will be coming to your email.
And
Christine, did you want to
Victoria,
take that next one?
there's
Or
one
yeah.
last one, but I'm not sure I understand this question.
Okay.
When do they start to use your university courses instead of your high school marks if you take some courses to try it out? So I'm
Hmm.
not sure. Is it
Maybe this could be referring to dual credit
possibly?
opportunities.
Possibly. Yeah, I'm just not sure. If it is dual credit, the way it works is by the name that it suggests, if it would give you credit for the university course, it would, I don't know. I don't know how to answer this question. So,
Perhaps if maybe whoever asked it could give a little bit more clarity
yeah.
about the university courses versus high school marks. Maybe they're thinking about post-grad opportunities as well, perhaps.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, if it's post-grad opportunities, they would look at university courses. A high school
right.
marks would not be necessary at that point. Um, so yeah, I don't know if someone, oh, okay. I think this is it. If you finish high school, but only take 2 to 3 university courses, and then you want to apply, how does that work? Do you still use your high school marks? I see what you're saying. So you've taken 2 to 3 university courses to try them out, and then they will still look at your high school because they want to see that you've graduated high school. And so they will look at that, but I think it will really depend on the school. It will really depend on what they're looking for and what yeah, I believe they will still look at some of those high school courses, especially the required high school courses, if you're only taking 2 to 3 university courses there. Um, is it correct that in grade 12 you can drop one course if the grade is not where it needs to be for university? Um, I am not sure. This is not in my realm of expertise. I actually don't focus on courses and grades. I focus on who the teens are and what their interests are. So I'm not really sure. This is probably a really good question for your counselor, or the specific university that you're applying to. Victoria, do you have an answer to that?
I don't. I was going to say that this seems to me like it could also be school specific. I know different schools have different guidelines in terms of deadlines for when you're able to drop a course before the mark sticks or some pieces like that. But this would definitely be a great question to check in with the guidance counselor at your teen school. They would have all of that information for you. All right. I don't see any other questions coming in our Q&A as of now. Oh, one more. Is there a component of application dates and deadlines for institutions within my blueprint? That's a really great question. So all of the information about application dates and deadlines would be within the website or platform that your province uses for post-secondary applications. So that will look different for every province, and the deadlines would be within that specific system that the different provinces are using. So no, that information is not in my blueprint. That information varies province to province. But really great question.
Yeah, I don't see any more questions here. And I know
All
we've gone
right.
over a little bit, but
Yes.
yeah, all good questions.
All right. So there's our question slide. No more questions. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining Tasneem and I today. And really, thank you so much for all of those amazing questions that you've asked and really shows your great engagement and interest in supporting your teen. So we really appreciate you taking the time to join us, whether it's in your afternoon or your evening. And please keep an eye out on that on your email for the follow-up email should be coming within the next few days, where you'll get all of the resources as well as the recording to support you. All right.